Welcome to another edition of Daily Blues here on 100% Chelsea. All the latest transfer news and news to do with Chelsea Football Club. With me, joining me today is Son of Chelsea. Say hello, guys.
Hope everyone's doing okay, having a lovely Monday.
The Monday's better than the Sunday. Let's just say that. But no Tony today. He's not available. I've had to do this because I've had a change of plan. If not, it would have come on at 10 o'clock. But what I would like to stress just before we start is that tomorrow at 10 p.m., and this is definite, join me, Daniel, Son of Chelsea, Tony, Big Tom, and Louis, who's back, who's landed today, back from holiday. We'll all be doing a big post-match analysis discussion. So we're going to break down the game against Man City, because we've got a lot of concerns to get off our chests, and a few of us are fuming. So please tune in, join in the discussion, leave your views, and tomorrow is going to be a big one as we completely dissect what went wrong with us against Man City. So be sure to tune in for that. Right, for today, we're going to discuss Rahman, who has signed, and he's joined Chelsea. Great to see, great to hear. But, Daniel, is Rahman obviously a good signing? And do you think that's actually enough? Or would you go out and get more?
No, of course we've got we'll discuss more about the game tomorrow. But off the evidence of tomorrow and off the evidence of the season so far, we clearly need more. I think we need stones. I'd like to see another defensive midfield option. And I'd also like to maybe see another attacking option. But they're kind of my three priorities. I don't think we'll sign another striker. Some sort of attacking option, whether that's a winger, whether that's a attacking midfielder. I definitely think we need a defensive midfielder and another centre back. I think.
Yeah.
One interesting thing, and you talk about like Rahman, he's been given a number 17 shirt.
He has.
I don't know if that's his favourite number or that was. It just like. It's weird. So I was like, when I saw that shot, I was like, could they be going in for someone else?
Yeah.
The person we spoke about on Saturday. But no, it'd be interesting. Of course, we need more. I think it'd be ludicrous to say we don't. We just need a bit more strength in depth. I think we need a little bit more energy to this team, a little bit more optimism from the fans. I think it would re-energize the players. I think it would re-energize the fan base if we can get some decent signings in. And the brilliant point made by Gary Neville, I know everyone's kind of talked about it a bit. Gary Neville did some brilliant analysis at the end of the game. Of course, I don't think you were at the game, so you didn't listen to it. No. He talked all about it, but what he said was Jose had come out and talked about how all of our rivals have improved, and he said that's not an excuse to stand still. And he's so right. We have stood still this summer. We haven't improved to the extent we should have. Even if it's just one signing, even if over us, do you know what I mean? Like Pedro or Griezmann, even if we didn't sign any other players, I think you always expect kind of one big signing. And I think we have stood still. We haven't improved enough to the extent. And currently with this squad we have, I don't think anything ridiculous like we ain't making the top four. But with the current squad we have, I think it's going to be a lot more like the 13-14 season where we can maybe finish 1 to 3. But I don't think that would make us certainties for the league. I think if we really want to challenge, we've got to make improvements.
Yeah. I mean, about Baba and the 17 shirt, apparently he wears 17 for Ghana. So it probably is his number.
Cool.
Yeah. But you do raise a good point, because Mourinho hinted, even in the press conference after the game yesterday, that when Baba comes in, he's going to be competing for the left-back position with Aspi, but at the same time, that enables Aspi to compete with Ivanovic for right-back. And as we saw yesterday, Ivanovic, again, not as bad as, I say, against Swansea, but still a liability. And I think if Aspi is going to move over to the right, we need to go in for another left-back and get cover for Baba, or someone to compete with Baba just on the left-hand side while Ivanovic competes with Aspi for the right. I think that would suit us a lot better. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, seeing, I think Azpilicueta on that I think even Azpilicueta, I don't think had an awful game yesterday. God, I was trying to, when I woke up this morning, I was trying to think to myself that was a bad nightmare, but it's not. It's actually real. No, yeah, I'd like to see Aspie go over to that right back position, challenge Branner for it, and yeah, just get some other like we talked about Ashley Cole coming back. I don't know who else at left back you could try and bring in who's actually going to sit on the bench and is actually going to be happy with that, unless we promote from the youth. So unless we Jay De Silva, I think we could promote from the youth.
Well, yeah, that is a good point, actually, that we could do that. Again, I'm quite sure we could do with another left back. You mentioned the centre back position. You mentioned Stones. There's a bit of a debate going on about Stones as to whether, if he comes in, will he be the solution in defence that we're looking for, or is it too much money for a player that's just not going to live up to standard? I don't know. What do you think about Stones?
I think Stones, what you got to remember about him, he's still a young player. So we're purchasing him on the basis of him being our defender, not just for one season, but for the next maybe 10 over like that season, taking over from JT. So you've got to look at it from that sort of signing. People will look at the price tag and want instant success. I think he can be a solution. I've seen very good things from John Stones, but there are still parts to his game that I think need to develop. Experience, know-how, and that will come with playing alongside and learning off John Terry, and I think that's why we should bring him in. I think as well he can be a good option to have to inject some pace into that defence. I think seeing Zuma in that second half definitely can deal with the pace of someone with Aguero, so Zuma's a brilliant option to have. As I was saying earlier, I think getting a DM in would be good because we really don't want Zuma to be playing defensive midfielder all the time. He wants to develop as a centre back, and Stones and Zuma would be a good partnership I see developing in the future. I think Stones can come in. I think he'll play a lot of games. He won't play all of them. He'll have to earn Jose's trust, but I still think I just think we need him. I just think English centre back, the up and coming one, the one that looks most impressive. For me, I think technically good. For me, I just think we need him.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, Stones, I'll be honest, 34 million is a bit of a push, but I think I'm willing to be able to say, you know what, chuck 34 at them, give us Stones. Any more, I wouldn't do the deal. No. I don't know if you agree. More than 34 million is excessive.
Yeah, I think then Everton are just being ridiculous. I think if they're gonna, I think as I said to you on one of the shows last week, I was like, if Everton are going to turn down 34 million, then they really are stupid. They're not in a position to do that. In my opinion, you talk about all the debt, you talk about the fact they struggle to get money for transfers. The Everton fans having a problem with the owners on Saturday flying that banner over St Mary's. I think Everton really are in a position to just. They're just not, I think, and the reports have come out today. I believe that apparently Everton are looking for a replacement. I don't know how true that is. I heard it, and Williams from Swansea looks to be the replacement. So maybe that could be a sign that maybe Chelsea are getting closer to signing him. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. And another sign that the media picked up on was obviously yesterday when John Terry got taken off. Now, I just want to, for the record, give everyone an assurance that there isn't some crazy crisis between Terry and Mourinho. I know what it is. The media, the moment we do something very small, the media go, "Oh no, look, this is massive." It's a sub. It's a normal sub, and John Terry hasn't been subbed under Mourinho ever. So he's gone and done it once, and suddenly it's made the headlines. I mean, if that's not ludicrous, I don't know what is. But Terry being taken off yesterday, the media picked up on it and said, could this be a sign from Jose that he's trying to tell the board, I want Stones?
We have known that with Jose before. He's done sort of those things before. It was hinted at in the 2 years ago when he against like PSG when he just played Schürrle up front in that first leg in the Champions League, and didn't play any of our strikers, and then after kind of really heavily criticised our strikers at that point, and that was kind of a sign that he wanted Diego Costa, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. I hope it's not the truth, because I don't want him intentionally throwing games away just for the sake of, let's get thumped 3-0. So maybe the board will give me. I really don't, and I don't think I truly believe that's the truth. But it wouldn't surprise me. I do think Jose clearly has a problem with the board this summer. They clearly haven't given him the freedom financially to go out and buy the players he wants. The more I hear from Jose, he's gone from, like, in February, for instance, he came out and said that Chelsea with FFP, it's going to be struggle to spend now into August, and he's saying the complete opposite. He's saying we're in a good position, we make enough revenue. I think if you may have seen this, Chelsea reports came out that Chelsea had made over 300 million revenue this year, financial year. I think so, 300 million. I think. I think it's. I could be completely wrong on that. So in the comments, let me know. But I think Jose clearly wants and clearly knows he needs signings. He's too good of a manager to realise no one would come out that game and think we don't need to strengthen.
Yeah.
Only Arsene Wenger after a 6-0 would come out and think, no, I think this is pretty good. No, Jose's too smart for that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, as you said, Mourinho's not stupid, and he's clearly, for me, the best manager there is in the world at the moment. And I think deep down he knows that this team needs something. It needs something quick. I think maybe they're okay. He's okay with the board, and I know the relationship's great, but I just think the board are quite reluctant in us going out and splashing money this year. And I'm not sure why. As Tony said, maybe it's the stadium. But if you're saying that we've made revenue, then why not? Strengthen this team, because it's needed. It really is needed. I don't know. Is there anywhere else you feel that we need to strengthen, except from defense? Because we've spoken about defense. Yesterday, as we saw, Diego Costa looked not up to it at all. And I know it wasn't just him that didn't play good, but he just wasn't looking up to it. And I don't know if that's going to keep going. Do you think we should strengthen up top? Or I
still have trust in my boy Diego, man. He's going to come good on Sunday. He's going to score a hat-trick, trust me. Trust me, he's going to score. No, we can't get bad on Diego. Come on. No, he has. I don't think he looked that bad against Swansea. I thought he looked sharp. I think, all the injury concerns. I think it was a real shame what happened with Fernandinho. I think that really shook him up. I think that changed. He still got 1 or 2 chances in the game. I think you can talk about Diego had that one chance. It was really our only clear-cut chance in the game. It led to Hazard. And for me, Costa is literally... We talk about problems about Chelsea passing too much. He is, especially at the start of last season, he is the opposite to that. The moment he can get forward, the moment he can take a shot, he's going to do it. And, when he was running onto that ball yesterday, it reminded me of like the West Ham goal. I thought he's going to have a shot here. He's got the ability to tuck this away, and it was weird to see him do that. I still think maybe he's struggling a little bit from the mental side, as Tony was talking about the injury. Also, we just creatively, we need to make more chances for him. We saw, like, my favourite Diego Costa goal from last year was the one against West Ham, mostly because he created it himself, really. But most 90% of Diego's goals come from our attacking players and our creative players creating those chances, making space for him. And you can, Diego can only do so much, Fabregas has to take responsibility. All the attacking players, for me, have to take responsibility and create more chances. You talk about attacking options. I still think I feel sorry for Falcao, and I hope this doesn't become a Torres situation, because I feel so sorry for him, because for me, I was like sitting there. What was it? 20 minutes ago, I was like, Jose, he's got to throw. I'd rather lose 2-0 than 1-0 when it was 1-0. I thought, bring on Falcao, put Costa and Falcao up front. Company's on a yellow. Yaya Touré's on a yellow. I think also Fernandinho was on a yellow as well. So you have 3 key City players all on yellows. So there's a chance here. And of course, the moment Falcao comes, and that's the corner that Company scores from, and it was kind of unfortunate for Falcao. I'd like to see Falcao hopefully next week be given a full chance, and then we'll be able to see him. Because I don't think really he's had that much of a shot at it yet, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. To be fair, I mean, yesterday when I was at the game, I was shouting, bring on Falcao, please. Let's just go all out and try and nick one back because we're down. And then he did, which was good to see. But again, I don't think Falcao has been given enough game time yet to be judged on. And when he has come on, he's shown positivity, which is good. But again, it's just not enough time. So.
If he gets given, like, I don't know, say next week we are up 2-0, I don't know, half an hour, maybe 25 minutes to go. He brings off Costa, brings on Falcao. He has 25 minutes there. He has a solid 25 minutes to make an impact on the game. Then we can make more of a judgment on him.
Yeah.
The 7 minutes here, like 10 minutes there, especially like the game when it was basically at 2-0, we all knew it was over,
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard for a striker like him, especially the team's kind of down, the momentum has kind of gone. It's tough to judge.
True, it's true. In the other areas, do you think? I mean, a lot of people are still bringing up Pedro, and they're bringing up that right-hand side. Would you strengthen there?
I mean, we brought in Kennedy. I mean, I know what people say he's still a young player. Jose wants to have him in the first team squad. I think I've said many times that I think that Chelsea's one position, especially on that right side, the right wing, is one position. If a player can come in, make an impact, be good attacking wise, have that same quality going backwards and helping out defensively, they'll get that position. I like to see Kennedy when he's fit or when he first gets his chance to get given that chance to see what he does. And I think the player that does that, you've got to remember, we've still got, Moses, Cuadrado, Willian, and now Kennedy all on that side. For me, that's just, I don't see him adding a fifth unless he's going to let two of them go, loan them out. The maximum I could see him having on that right side is 3. And the 3 I could see him having is Willian, Kennedy, and probably Moses, unfortunately. Like, I think he's going to sell Cuadrado, but I can't see him buying 5 right wingers. People like 5 wingers on that side. It's just, for me, it'd be ridiculous. I have heard people saying that we still need something like in a number 10 position.
Yeah, I got brought up quite a lot yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem was it's kind of, I don't really want to go into the whole. I'll talk about this tomorrow, but because it's more on the tactics kind of side of things.
Yeah.
But I can understand that. I think. Yes, I just like some sort of attacking option, whatever it is, just to bring some energy into that team.
Yeah. What about defensive mid? I mean, a few people raised their concerns about defensive mid. We saw, to be honest, I don't know what's going on with Matic recently because it seems like last year he knew how to play defensive mid, and this year he's trying to become Messi. I mean, he's just trying to bomb forward. That's not what you're meant to do in defensive mid. I never remember Makelele bombing forward or Essien trying to bomb forward.
Well, Matt, the brilliant thing about Matic last year was he get the ball, he has skill to hold off players, but he give the ball to the attacking players. Whether he doesn't have the confidence this year to give the ball to the attacking players, I don't know. Or it's like you say, he's trying to be Messi and he's trying to take on 5 players at once. Of course, Matic, I still think I don't think he's that off. I think, I've seen enough signs from him this season that he's not that off form as other players. He still can be a solid player. Just another defensive midfielder role, because then I think that if you can get another DM in, you've got more strength in depth, whether that's Witsel. Let's talk about Alex Song, and even though Alex Song's a bit like up and down, we saw him at Arsenal, wasn't that good. But then kind of recovered his form at West Ham. Just someone in that position. I think Witsel looks like the best player for that position.
Yeah.
Just someone who can sit in there with, because we've talked about Mikel and Ramirez and the form that fluctuates from game to game. And Jose didn't play Ramirez even in the defensive midfield role yesterday. So we clearly need someone there if you're going to push Fabregas further up.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Matic last year was pretty much, let's say, on his own. He did a great job, fantastic job. But this year, I think he's found himself in that same situation. I mean, when we look at Fabregas playing defensive mid, it's like he just can't defend. He knows how to do everything bombing forward, but he just can't defend. He can't get the right tackles in. He makes fouls from time to time. He can't track back so much. Fabregas, I don't know what's going on with him defensively, but that leaves Matic completely open. So I think a defensive mid would help big time. To aid Matic. We mentioned before the Man City game possibly Zuma stepping in that role from time to time, but as you said, he's a natural centre back, so we're not going to do that all the time. I think a defensive mid would be a good addition. I'm going to bring up Pedro again. Should we just go in for him?
I'd love to see us sign him. I thought before the season started, when we were linked to him, I thought, yeah, we're going to go in and sign him. It all looked kind of good, and then it just went silent. United haven't moved as quickly for him as I expected. So I think signing Pedro would be, as I say, I think it would be a big, I think in some ways it could prove a bit of a momentum shift, because I think it would wake the whole Premier League up. It'd wake our rivals up. It'd be Jose bringing in a big signing. I think everyone would think, yeah, this player could really change our season. He's a brilliant player. He can play both. Even up front if you want to. But as a right winger, he's going to bring excitement. He's going to bring goals. He's going to bring that quality from Barcelona. He was probably Barcelona's best player in their 4-0 hammering on Friday. And I think that says a lot. So I'd love to see us going and swoop for him. And 22 million, I know it sounds ridiculous, that it sounds not that much, but for a player of his ability, I think 22 million. If that's his release clause, I know I've heard different things from Barcelona. Somehow it could be 30 million, close to 30 million. But if it is 22 million, for me, Chelsea, should go in for him. If we really want to win the title this year, if we really want to make a sustained challenge in Europe, I think he's sort of quality attacking wise that really could improve our attack.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I would welcome Pedro straight away. I would really welcome him. He's bringing a winning mentality. He knows what it takes to win. As you said, he's been one of Barca's best players this season. But another point I want to mention, and I want to get people's view on this, is Eden Hazard, because I kind of feel sorry for the guy. He hasn't been up to it recently, but I know why. He's getting all the pressure on him. Everyone's expecting just him to create everything from nothing, and the guy's trying hard, but he can't do it on his own. I know. What do you have to say about Hazard and the supporting roles around him?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said earlier with Costa about, he can't do it on his own. I think it's the same with Hazard. I think Hazard, amazing player, but once again, I mean, if you've got like 2 or 3, like 4 players around you, especially against Man City, the quality of those players, you're gonna find it difficult. One of the good things about Costa coming in last year and when he's on form is it really brought another element to our attack that defenses who play against us have to worry about. You worry about Costa, then you worry about Fabregas, then you worry about Hazard. That would create space for all 3 of those players. And I feel sorry for him. I don't think he's played terribly. He just hasn't. He was the only player closest to scoring. If you count Ramirez, I don't know if you would count Ramirez's chance, even though it was offside. But he was the closest, and really he created that Ramirez chance. It was offside. He created all of that by himself. And at times he did look like the player with the most energy. And you'd probably think with the amount of game time he's had, he'd probably be one of the most tired. He'd probably be most tired. So
yeah, I mean, one factor about Hazard is that he's getting kicked around. And this has been a problem from last year. The guy gets constantly fouled, and I think we've probably been figured out. We know that Hazard is our key guy, and they just destroy him, and that practically leaves us with no Hazard. Same for our other key players, but Hazard is our main, creative player. So when people are trying to destroy him and break his legs, I think someone else needs to step in to support him, someone else like a Pedro who can come in and take half the pressure off Hazard. So then when teams do face us, they go, oh, you know what? We have to deal with Hazard, but one sec, we've also got to deal with Pedro over there. Or, I thought Willian might be that guy, but he's not getting the same sort of treatment that Hazard is.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. I think, at times last season, if Hazard didn't even have to have the best games and we'd still win. I think there were games last season where he didn't even get on the score sheet. And, we'd still win convincingly. I remember a game against Swansea, played really well, but didn't get on the score sheet, but we still won 4-2, and Costa really run right on that game. Another game, I think Liverpool away, we won 2-1 last season. Another game where Hazard actually didn't have that good of a game, and that sort of quality. I just look at this squad and I think, it's clearly out of form at the moment. I think it can recover that form, but we clearly need additions to strengthen, and I think it can help bring form back. If you bring in a new player, it makes everyone up their game, because worrying about positions and maybe it will up Willian's game. Willian will think, well, I could, probably you put Pedro in front of Willian, of course, but I think it would step everyone's game up if we were to bring in a new addition. I think it does. I think it does energize and motivate a team if you bring in a new player, because it in some ways, I think players maybe stand back and think, wait, what, they're bringing in this new player for a reason. We're clearly not playing good enough, so we need to step our game up.
Yeah. Well, on the back of that, where do you think, if you're going to pick up positions, where do you think we need to strengthen? If you was to just choose positions, centre back, do you say defensive mid?
I say if we're picking, earlier I said an attacking option. I think if we're as we've gone on to discuss today, I'd say the three positions: defense, right wing, defensive midfielder, and centre back. They're the three positions. People say right back, but I mean you've got Azpilicueta there, and you've also got Ivanovic. So I still think that's enough if you can recover form, and people who don't like Ivanovic, Azpilicueta can go in there. We've got Rahman on the left. We have talked about getting another left back. I don't know if I think because Azpilicueta can now play both roles. I know he's not as good on the left, of course, but he's adapted to that role good enough where he can be solid defensively in a lot of ways when he's on form. So yeah. I still think probably having three back there is good enough, because if Rahman gets injured, you can have Azpilicueta go over to the left. I'd say, I think centre back, defensive midfielder, and right wing. I think they're the positions that for me I identify as where we need to strengthen. I know people may have different views. That's just where I think we can strengthen, because I think if you can get in someone defensive midfielder as cover, so then you bring them in big games maybe, and then you push Fabregas forward to number 10, so you'd have a front three of Pedro, Fabregas. So Fabregas has played with Pedro, probably has an understanding with him. Pedro, Fabregas, Hazard, Costa. You have a defensive midfield in big games, maybe of Witsel and Matic. You have the back four could be Rahman, Terry, maybe Stones in some games, maybe Zuma in some games, Cahill in some games, and then of course Ivanovic, Azpilicueta. At the moment, you probably say Azpilicueta, but that to me looks like a strengthened side. I don't know about you. I think, and then in other games where we're not, maybe in easier games or games where we're not playing against high quality sides, you put Fabregas back into deep and you bring back Oscar. Yeah,
that's true. That is true.
So it just brings more options.
Exactly, and that's what we need at the moment. I mean, this team we have now, this is what baffles me about this whole transfer window. This is why at the beginning of the season, or just before, I was saying, well, look, we don't really need to go out and start buying loads of players. But, because this team is the team that won us the title. This team has proven to be great when it wants to be. We just don't know what's going on. This is the same practical 11 that played fantastic at the beginning of last year, battering teams, playing attacking football, winning by 6 goals, and then the second half of the season played a bit more defensive, really solid, got those 1-0s and saw it out. I think when I look at it now, what the hell's going on? I don't know. But what would you think if we just don't sign anyone? Transfer window closes and we've gone, hang on, we ain't got anyone. What would you do? How would you react?
I think I'd be kind of disappointed and kind of more worried. As I said, I think this squad, if it recovers form, still, I mean, if it recovers to the form we had at the beginning of last season and for most of last season, then yeah, it can put up a title challenge. But we also want to compete in Europe. So I think we've got the best mentality to have is a ruthless one, where you go out, you strengthen every year. You don't sit back on your laurels. You know, you look at you have to be ruthless with your squad. You have to look at where it needs strengthening. Even when you're the best in the world, you still need to strengthen. You know, the best teams do it. Barcelona sign players every year. Real Madrid sign players every year. Bayern Munich sign players every year. You know, there's a reason they do that. You know, and you could argue that they're going to win their domestic league every year, but they strengthen because they know that they need to improve in certain areas. And we need to. We're one of those. We should have ourselves up in one of those elite bracket. You know, in terms of European clubs. And if we're going to be like that, we're going to have to sign players every year. I know FFP does play a factor into that, but even if it's just one player, I think just to, as I say, re-energize the team.
Yeah, I do agree. If we were to not sign anyone, I would probably be a little bit concerned. But I wouldn't call it a crisis. That's one word I would just want to eliminate from everyone's minds right now. Chelsea are not in crisis. It's been 2 games of the season. We've had a bad pre-season. Not in terms of the games itself and losing, and I'm not concerned about that. I'm just talking about the schedule of the pre-season. The way pre-season was handled was not good at all. So when you put that into context, I can see why we've started off slow. I don't want to call it a crisis. It's not a crisis at all. I think we'll come good eventually, but when? That's the question. And I don't want it to be too late. And I think we can strengthen in positions. Just to get a quick word in, Tony just sent me a text because he is watching. Obviously, he's not home and he can't join in, but he is watching. He has said Pogba, defensive mid, would be a good addition. I think we can all agree. Pedro, and he's saying Willian behind Costa in attacking mid would work.
Yeah, I have to see. Do you know one game last season where he played really well? Leicester, like they put him in Jose put him in number 10 when we won 3-1 at Leicester, and he put him there, and he really did dominate the game. You know, I thought he was a really good game against Leicester, so he can play the number 10 position. I just feel sorry for Oscar because I think, you know, I thought this was going to be his big season, but you never know. I mean, if we do buy Pedro, you could maybe see him getting less game time in big games, you know. But it'd be interesting to see how. I still think we need signings though.
Yeah, no, of course, definitely. He's also saying Stones and Zuma at the back, as you've mentioned, would be a great partnership, and Aspi on the right, Baba on the left, which again is what we've discussed, and I think that's the best solution at the moment. Another thing I want to get to really quickly is Mourinho. Because yesterday, after his press conference, got a lot of people hating what he said, and even me. And you know, as I've said, I think Jose is the best. You know, but even what he said got me confused. You know, and we're going to reflect on all of this a little bit more tomorrow when we break down the game. But I just want to bring it up really slightly. He said City were the best team in the 45 minutes in the first half, and we were the best in the second half. You know, and it's just, I don't know, is he saying all of that just to get the pressure off the team? Because I think that's what it might be. You know, Chelsea as a club are going through a lot at the moment in terms of the media, and it's all negative. Is he just saying that to really just get all the focus on him? I don't know.
Yeah, I think probably, I thought this last night, I think Pellegrini would do the same in issues. I think you have to, as a manager, you have to deflect criticism from your players. I don't think he actually believes that. I think sitting there standing there on the sidelines and watching that game, as all of us, it was a bit of a weird game. I know we'll dissect it more. How he thinks that if looking at the logic behind I can understand what he's saying, but we didn't create enough chances. in
No.
that second half. We dominated possession, but possession doesn't mean anything in football for me. It just doesn't. If you ain't getting chances,
He would know that.
He would know
know
that. He would know that more than anyone. So, you know, I clearly think City were a better team on the day. Yeah, they dominated us in that first half. They didn't do it as much in the second half, but still they won 3-0, and they no one can argue that they didn't deserve it.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I mean, even when I was watching, we were all thinking, you know, what's going on? City are totally dominating us. And even in the second half, we stepped it up, but overall, just City got it perfect. Even tactically, they got it perfect. And Mourinho did say that yesterday. He said that the subs that Pellegrini chose to do were perfect, and it was really intelligent. Bringing on a defensive player, bringing on Demichelis, you know, taking off Sterling, and they still got 2 more goals. You know, it just worked for them. It just worked.
I mean, I think I know we'll talk about it tomorrow. I still kind of maybe if you look at the whole game, was it a 3-0 game? But then, I mean, the way I counter that is saying, look at the amount of chances Aguero had in that first half, you know, and he scores all of them. Then it's probably 5-0, you know, in truth. Looking at the 90 minutes, is it a 3-0 game? Maybe not, but I don't think you can argue with the scoreline. I think we were second best, basically everything yesterday. So, you know, 3-0, you know, it's football, you know. So I can't really make that much. We can't really, in truth, we can't make any excuses. But of course, we'll go real in depth with it tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, definitely we will. Again, I just think the timing of it. Yes, 3-0. He called it a fake result, and
I wish it was a fake result. I wish all the fans like you who travelled up there thought it was a fake result, but unfortunately, it's not. You know, people went up there to Manchester to watch Chelsea and saw that game, and you know, as much as I hope we can on FIFA, like when you lose a bad game, you can replay it. Unfortunately, that's not how it works in real life.
Exactly. But yeah, he called it a fake result. And I think that got taken out of context a bit. Again, I think half of that is trying to get the focus on him and not the players, and to try and keep the morale a bit up.
I did see that quite a lot last night. Fake result. Yeah. So it clearly worked.
Yeah, exactly. But I know deep down he knows it wasn't a fake result. I think by what he means by fake is that, you know what, look, they scored. They wanted to play a bit more defensive and hold the 1-0. We made the mistake. They scored the second, and then there was 10 minutes to go. We knew it was done. It was game over.
I think the third goal was very much, you know, it was just a game done, and we just looked lethargic at the back. Yeah. I think 2-0 probably, in reflection, looking at the game in its entirety, was probably the fairer result. But there was a bang. The third goal was brilliant by Fernandinho, so you can't complain with that goal. It was brilliant.
Well, exactly. But even at that point, we were toast. At that point, we were toast. We conceded the second, and all of us were like, yeah, that's it. This team's given up. It's done.
Yeah.
So when that does happen in a big game, it's normal. I can see why they won 3-0. But again, I think Mourinho might be just. He's not stupid. A lot of people are making him to be this deluded mug who's just blurting rubbish. But we all know he's not stupid. He's picking his words, and there's a reason. You know, so I don't know. Are you optimistic for, let's say, West Brom?
I'm so pumped for West Brom, man. It's gonna be a top away day, man.
You're gonna be there, aren't you?
I'm not like I ain't giving up. I'm still looking forward to that away day. You know, and you know what? Yeah, when we're 2-0 up, we're gonna be singing. You know what I mean? We're in a relegation. No, I'm just kidding. We're not in a relegation battle. But no. What I'm Chelsea fan, man. What, like, the amount of stuff I saw, like tweets like last night saying I'm not supporting Chelsea till they win, and I was like, well, I see every time we lose, I think it's the Chelsea forum on Twitter. I see this tweet a lot. If you can't support us when we lose, then don't support us when we win, and that is so true. You know, I'm not going to give up on this team. 36 games to go. You know, you've got to remain positive. You've got to have some perspective. Man City played well. They're a better team. We've got to suck it up to. We haven't lost to a big team in the Premier League in what, 2 or 3 seasons now, and 2 seasons I think it was now, and that's really, really good. You know, so you got to have some perspective with these things. And yeah, it's not the end of the world. The world didn't end because Chelsea lost today.
Of course not. And that's what I want to point out. And before we go off, Mourinho even yesterday said, look, it's we don't need to be. Yeah, we have to be concerned, but we don't have to be going, oh my God, it's the end of the world. We're stuffed. No. He said, 1 point out of 6 is better than 0 out of 6. It's also worse than 2 out of 6. And you know the way he talks. And he said, but listen, I can do the maths and I know what 36 times 3 is. That's 108 points remaining. I think we're, if we come good and, we just fix up, of course we're still in this. It's only 2 games. There's still 36 games to go. So I think we got to keep the crisis talk a bit down. Let's not go quite there yet. If it was after Christmas, then I'd be talking about a crisis. But it's not. It's 2 games. Let's relax and try and fix the problems. And just back the team. As you said, win, lose, or draw. You have to back the team.
Yeah, it's just. I just don't understand this talk of crisis. In November, I think in November, we can have this discussion again. If we're still having problems, then yeah, we've got issues. But I mean, I look at the game against Arsenal. Where is it in just under a month's time? And I look at that game and I look at the time we've got left in the transfer window, and I look at Jose and how much he, especially against Arsenal, if we can get our act together by then, I think that could be a real. I can look at that. If we can bring up some form, that could be a real turning point in a way, and really beating Arsenal would be massive. So that's the way you've got to look at it. Look at the Arsenal game. That could be a game where if we get some form against West Brom, Crystal Palace, and Everton, the 3 games before it, if we can get some form going in those 3 games, go into that game with a bit more optimism, and we can look solid defensively in that game. So I don't know. It's just. I don't think we should, and as well, I think the fact that we got so convincingly beaten yesterday by about, I don't know, it wasn't, with 10 minutes to go, I think we all knew it was over. So it wasn't as painful in a way. I guess it's more painful thinking back on it. I'm not saying it isn't painful. It's just, we're lucky we faced City this early. It could be a blessing in disguise, as we were talking about today. Maybe it wakes up the board. Maybe it wakes up Jose. Maybe it wakes up the players. That's the way you got to look at this. I think the Tottenham game last year did that. I think away to Tottenham, we fixed up our act, and we went on to win the league. So that's the way to look at it.
That's true. We got the punishing early on. So as Mourinho said as well, 36 games to go, 36 times 3 wins you the league. So it's still quite up for it. It's no problem at all. But remember, I just want to remind everyone who's watching, tomorrow we will really break down what went wrong yesterday against City, what needs to be done, who's playing rubbish, who's trying hard. We'll break every single detail down between maybe 4 or 5 of us on the discussion panel. So be sure to join us tomorrow. That's at 10 p.m. for the post-match analysis discussion. And Daniel, thank you for coming on today. Much appreciated.
Cool, no problem.
But yeah, tune in tomorrow, guys. Subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you are new. Remember to check out all the fan interviews from the game yesterday. They're up on the channel, so be sure to check those out. Quite a lot of opinions that came across, so do have a look. Be sure to follow Daniel on Twitter at Son of Chelsea, and check all the social media links for 100% Chelsea in the description below. And we'll see you tomorrow for the big, massive discussion that everyone wants to hear. Everyone's quite fuming, so let's get the points across. See all of you tomorrow.